451C, Chapter Road, Williston, London. NW2 5NG 0208 877 8907. Dear Christopher, I told you that I wanted to try to explain why I went away when I had the time to do it properly, and I have lots of time now. So I'm sitting here with this letter on the sofa and the radio on, and I'm going to try to explain. I was not a very good mother, Christopher, and I'm sorry for that. Maybe if things had been different, maybe if you'd been different, I might have been better at it, but that's just not the way things turned out. Your father is a much more patient person. I'm not like your father. He just gets on with things, and if things bother him, he doesn't let it show, and I'm not like that, and there's nothing I can do about it to change it. Do you remember once we went shopping in town, and we went into Bentall's, and it was really crowded, and we had to get a Christmas present for Grandma? And there were lots of people in the shop, and you got frightened, and you crouched down on the floor, and you put your hands over your ears, and you were in the way, and so I got cross because I don't like shopping at Christmas either, and so I told you to behave, and I tried to pick you up and move you, but you shouted, and you knocked the mixers off the shelf, and there was a big crash. And everyone turned around to see what was going on, and there were boxes and bits of string and broken bits of bowl everywhere, and you were screaming and hitting the floor, and I got cross, and I saw that you had wet yourself, and everyone was staring, and the manager came over, and he asked me if anything was wrong, and I had to pay for 2 broken mixers. And we just had to wait until you stopped screaming. And I remember I had to walk you home that night, which took hours, because I knew you wouldn't go on the bus again. And I remember that night, I just cried and cried and cried. And your father was really nice about it at first. And he made you supper, and he put you to bed, and he said these things will happen and it will be okay. But I said I couldn't take it anymore. And eventually he got really cross, and he told me that I was being selfish and that I need to pull myself together, and I hit him, which was wrong, I know, but I was so upset. Christopher, we had a lot of arguments like that. And I thought that I couldn't take it anymore. And your father's really patient, but I'm not. I get cross even though I don't mean to. And eventually we just stopped talking to each other altogether because it would always end in an argument. And I felt really lonely. And that's when I started spending lots of time with Roger. And I don't know if you'll understand any of this, but I wanted to try to explain anyway. And we started spending a lot of time together, and we realized we had a lot in common, and we realized that we loved each other. And I said that I couldn't leave you, and he was really sad about that. But he realized how important you were to me. And one day I threw the food across the room, which I know I shouldn't have done. You grabbed the chopping board and you threw it, and it hit my foot and broke my toes. And And we had another argument after that. And your father had to look after you for a while, do you remember? And I remember seeing the two of you and how you were together, and thinking that how you were with him. Just much more calm. And it made me so sad, because it was like you didn't need me at all. And Roger asked me if I wanted to stay with him. And it broke my heart. But I realized that it was probably better for all of us if I wasn't living in the house. And so I said yes. And I meant to say goodbye. But when I rang, your father said, he said I couldn't. He said I couldn't talk with you. And I didn't really know what to do. He said I was being selfish and that I was never to set foot inside the house again, and so I haven't. I don't know if you understand any of this. I hope that you do. Christopher, I never meant to hurt you. I thought that what I was doing was for the best for all of us. I hope it is. I used to have dreams that everything would get better. Do you remember how you used to say that you wanted to be an astronaut? Well, I dreamed you were an astronaut and you were on television, and I thought, that's my son! I wonder what it is you want to be now. Has it changed? Are you still doing maths? I hope you are. Loads and loads of love, Mother.